Let's do it.
All right.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Westerbros. This could be a bonus episode. We don't know right now. We just got inspired, so we had to talk about it. I said that we were going to talk about the movie Bright on Brilliant Idiots, and I think we definitely mentioned on that Instagram.
Yeah.
But I said we're definitely going to do a Westerbros episode. A lot of people have been asking for it. So we are back. I'm back here with Jack, Haney, and Marco, and we're going to start talking about Bright, man. We got a lot of division in the group about Bright.
Well, I think there's two things to talk about,
so
right? The first thing is the movie. Did we like it? Was it
Yes.
good? And then the second thing is the business model and how it
Yes.
impacts things going forward.
Yeah, and I think most of our divisiveness. Well, actually, I can't really speak. Jack doesn't like it, and I feel like let's start. Yeah, let's start with you. Why do you?
So hold on. First,
Yeah.
this movie got crushed by critics,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Whether that was a valid criticism or not, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But
Well, let's bring that up.
Consensus is that it was bad.
Let's bring that up
Right.
right now, right? So the consensus to this, I have no fucking clue what this movie was, right? I had never heard a single thing a critic said. I was in Israel for 10 days. I come back. I'm jet lagged as fuck. It's like 7 in the morning or 5 in the morning. I can't go to sleep. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. Will Smith did a movie on Netflix.
Right.
And I go, fuck it. I can't sleep. I might as well just watch it. And I turn on this movie and I'm besides myself. I'm like, dude, this is incredible for a Netflix show, right? And I understand I'm pointing at Jack as I'm saying this. And I've said this about Netflix shows forever, which is they're not as good as HBO show, but the expectation is way lower because you can binge it, so you can get through a shitty episode and immediately get what you want the week after. And there are a couple things that lower your expectations. But knowing that, I'm watching this movie and I'm going, this is a phenomenal movie for not having to get up out of my bed and go to the movie theater, buy a ticket, buy popcorn, put on clothes. This is just watch at home. This is right here. This is before I went to iPick, by the way. That's changed everything. It's changed everything. So this is pre-iPick. This is Bedbug Movie Theater.
Yeah.
I'm used to when I'm making.
Going to go to iPick to watch Sports Center.
I would
now
go to
on. You know what I'm
iPick
saying?
to nap.
Get
That
away
should be
from
the business
someone.
model. Yeah. You have a wife? iPick.
$30, 2 hours.
I feel like Japan had invented that 30 years ago. It's just a nap pod. I just throw on some fucking good entertainment. Anyway, I watch it. I thought it was fucking amazing. I put a picture up on Instagram. And immediately I start getting ripped. Oh, you're just being a contrarian, Schulz. See, people said this movie is trash. The critics said it's trash. I had no clue what the critics said. Then all of a sudden people start saying, yo, I saw it too. These critics are bullshit. I can't believe they're saying it. And I start to look up what critics said, and I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I really enjoyed this movie, and I think I'm a pretty good judge of content. I'm not one of these guys who loves everything.
Right.
And I'm in the business, so I'm watching this with, I think, pretty clear eyes, and I thought it was great. I come to find out I have a conversation with you guys, and Marco and I had a similar idea. Marco, you can express the idea the best way, which is why the critics hated it. And you said,
What I said, they basically couldn't have an unbiased opinion on something that would crush their business model, which is movies not releasing in theaters and the need to have critics take on it and the old rigmarole of the movie business instead of going directly to Netflix.
So a great point that I didn't realize that you come a little closer here. Great point that I didn't realize that you point out right now is, so I chalked it up to something else. I was like, why would the critics rip the movie? And then I go, well, who advertises on a critic's website or who advertises in a critic? The movie theater.
Right.
Right? So, but what really cleared something up for me was the fact that reviews are necessary for getting out of your house, putting on clothes, putting on boots, putting on a jacket, and going to a movie theater. They are not necessary for turning on your TV and just watching a show.
That's
Right.
word of mouth.
Precisely.
That's social media.
That's social
That's
media.
not
That's
word of mouth. That's just, let me just hit play because I know I could bail on this in 15 minutes if I want.
I'm not
There's
invested.
no commitment.
Right.
I ain't even
I'm
put
not
an
paying-
outfit on, B.
Right.
Right.
So
I
that's
didn't
what I
pay
didn't
anything
realize
on.
until right now, as you said. You were probably thinking that the whole time, but right
Yeah.
now, as you said that, it's like, yes, the film critic's business is risky because we don't need you if I can bail in 2 minutes.
Right.
We do need you if I'm
You're
gonna
invest.
If I'm gonna invest. If I'm
Yeah.
gonna take a shorty out.
Right.
That's an expensive night.
Hell yeah.
So-
Especially if you go to the iPick.
We're not going to iPick unless it's good.
Right.
Right.
So now I'm starting to see through this. And now Jack is bubbling. He's got a lot to say. Go,
I mean,
go,
you guys
go,
have
go,
basically
go,
said
go,
it, but
go,
like my whole thing is, you say this is an amazing movie. Is it the movie or the way in which you watch the movie?
But that shouldn't be anything new. Like, you've had Netflix for years. Like,
right.
you understand
But
how
this is the first like blockbuster Netflix production.
What
movie.
I've always said is this: low expectations are the key to life.
100%.
You know, a fast food burger from In-N-Out, we say, is amazing. Is it better than a burger from, David Burke or whatever that steak restaurant is? Absolutely not. But when you walk in and you have the burger in 2 minutes and it costs you $2.50, you're like, this is the greatest burger I've ever had. So I'm not saying this is fast food film, but what I am saying is being able to sit on my couch and watch a major blockbuster actor. And you could argue, too, because Edgerton's no goofball. This guy's in movies.
He's a goofball in this movie.
He's a very funny goofball, but
I thought he was good.
maybe you don't like it. But that being said, like when you get to watch these two guys just from the comfort of your own home, you don't have to leave. And I'm getting this for what I perceive is free because I don't really consider automatic charges on my credit card spending money.
Of course not.
No, it's like spending money at the airport, right? It's like
money,
that.
It's in the cloud.
Yeah, you write it off.
Yeah.
That's what I say to myself when I'm traveling. When I spend $100 on at the Hudson News, I write it off. Yeah, just write it off. So I think that increased my appreciation of it. That being said, I like the world.
Yeah.
I'm a world guy. I'm a huge world guy. I can't watch it's hard for me to watch just a regular show that takes place in New York. I can watch a show with, maybe orcs or a futuristic thing from Black Mirror, and I thought the world was really cleverly put together.
All right. I'm all about the fantasy genre. I love Lord of the Rings. One of my favorite franchises of all time.
Yeah.
To me, this just came across as analytical nonsense. Like, so the way that Netflix,
coming out hot.
the way that Netflix,
Which
chooses
character did you audition for? That you didn't get.
the way that Netflix, infamously creates their projects is that they look at data, they look at what people are watching, and they go, like, the whole reason that House of Cards became a project was they said people love, at the time, Kevin Spacey movies, David Fincher movies. Let's have David Fincher make a Kevin Spacey show. They're making original content. This to me is like they just put together like fantasy world with cop drama, like Training Day meets Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And it just came across
Sounds
as that.
great.
Yeah, I'm really loving it.
On paper, I love it, but to me, it just came across as so lazy. Like there was no like deeper anything. It's just like all this nonsense in like futuristic LA, and
Well, it's today, LA.
I hate
It's
it.
not futuristic.
No, it's futuristic. If you look at the skyline, there's like
So
new
they
buildings and like
So that was the one thing that
Right?
confused me because they did reference how that like there was this war 2,000 years ago,
right.
right? But like, what was the world like 2,000 years ago?
Was 2,000 years ago what we're currently in right now? Or
Right.
2,000
No,
years ago
because they have the same
completely
cars.
different?
That's what I was thinking.
No,
too.
2,000 years ago is arguably when,
and then these
when
people
Jesus
basically
was born,
now
right?
they have now assimilated into our society. Some of them for over the last 2,000 years.
Yeah. Right.
Got it.
Yeah.
To present day.
To present day. And, people are taking on different attributes. Like the orcs just happen to dress like cholos.
Yo,
You know
they
what I
have
mean?
to put
Like-
them in like FUBU jerseys.
Yeah,
Like,
but
that
that's
was the
the-
only thing.
But I think it was a look at
It was like that was kind of like the movie is supposed to have an allegory of race, but they
Yeah.
somehow managed to be racist on its own.
It's also written by
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like they're supposed to do a thing about race, but then they made really racial stereotypes of people.
Oh yeah, orcs can't jump.
Yeah.
You ever
was
seen
so
an orc
weird.
jump that high?
Yeah.
And I thought there were interesting things. Like the horse cop was a centaur. I thought that was cute.
bullshit.
Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
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 I liked it.
Yeah.
I
I
liked
mean,
it.
what else would you make a centaur?
I agree.
If you're a centaur person and you
Yeah.
want a government job, you're not going to be at the fucking toll booth.
No.
Right? You're going to be a goddamn horse cop.
You're
You're already a
absolutely
horse cop, right? So I thought there was cute little things that happened. The idea that he was like an oppressed minority or whatever it was, and
I didn't care for that. Like, I see what they were trying to do with
Right.
that, and it was probably pretty clumsy the way they did it. And
Okay.
kind of like almost too obvious. And when I take it out of the context of the racial element,
Yeah.
and just focus it on like a fantasy cop drama,
Yeah.
I enjoy it much more.
yeah, if you
I
just
don't
remove
think of
that.
it as like a serious thing trying to take on race like that. I don't like.
One, and
No,
I
think
want
they
to
were
get,
trying to do that though.
No,
I
but
think
I
they
don't
were.
like that. Part.
but you just removed that from
I'm
your
removing that from my brain.
And I want to get your perspective on this because you're the only minority here. But like, with the orc character, there was this idea, at least how I saw it, which was what happens when you are a minority, but you don't double down on your group. When you actually do things that are maybe go against the grain of your
Yeah.
group, and now you're not accepted by the new group that people perceive you as trying to join. You're also not accepted by your own group. right? So do you experience any of that growing up? Like you're Egyptian,
Yeah.
Muslim kid,
When
you're growing up in a
you're
Poconos.
brown, you're not white and you're not black.
So you got to choose.
Not even that you have to choose, but like I got along with white people, I got along with black people, but you're never fully one of them.
No. But but you're Muslim.
Right.
But so within you, the comparison is like within the Muslim community.
So
do they start to look at
where
you
I
like
grew up, there wasn't a big Muslim community.
Right.
So I was either with white or black or whatever, right? Then you get older, you start meeting other, but like I wasn't part of them either.
But you had
because
a
I
big-
didn't grow up like I didn't have that mentality where like you see a lot of ethnic groups, they band together. You see a lot of times you'll see a group of Indians people.
you
together,
didn't have enough
Asians
to be
people.
together.
Right. So I only have a few really close Muslim friends, right? But most of my friends are white or black or Spanish or all over the place, right? So I'm a little different from that. So when I go and hang out in that world, I'm still an outsider because I'm not in that world.
So you're the orc.
I'm the orc.
But is it more? Is it awkward for you?
Please cut
I am
that
the orc.
clip.
Said it so
Please cut
matter-of-factly.
Wait, I'm the orc. I'm the orc.
Yo, you feel like you've been waiting to say that your whole life. No, but like, do you feel when you're with a more like predominant group of like a Muslim community that only hangs out with?
This happened
primarily
like a week
Do
and a
you
half ago.
feel
What happened?
outcasted from them?
Well, what happened a week and a half ago?
No, but I don't know if it's just self insecurity, but like I feel there's a difference, right?
Right.
And I hung out like a friend of mine was in town.
Yeah.
They now live in like Dubai, right? And they're like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be in New York, hang out, met up with her friends, all Muslim, all Arab, and they all know each other, right?
Yeah.
So I'm the outcast in the sense that like, hi, I'm meeting you for the first time. I've met you like 3 times,
Right.
like whatever, right? But also like I'm the guy that they only date
Within
Muslim, they only date within the culture. I married a Cuban girl.
Right.
Right.
So did you bring your shorty with you?
She was there for part of the night and then bounced early.
So how
Okay.
how was that dynamic?
Fine, right? And like when you see it, like everything was fine. These people are actually a little more different. They're kind of like they're a little older. They're kind of like a little bit more liberal now.
Sure.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
But I knew some of them 10 years ago, and they were not like they're very strict.
Right.
Like strict to the culture and strict to the religion.
After your girl left, how long before you guys started discussing how to expand the caliphate?
No, but it was funny because the one guy I met, they had joined later on. I was like, "Yeah, I'm married." He's like, "Oh, is your wife Egyptian?" I'm like, "No, she's Cuban." And yo, he was like, he gave me a dap, like, "Yo, good for you,"
Wow.
because we don't do this enough,
Really?
right? But other people, you kind of feel like, "Oh, your wife's not Muslim." Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, all right. So you're a traitor. All right. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Wow.
you're not living up to the.
Right.
You're the shame of your family type shit. Right?
Yeah.
So you feel some of that too, right? But it was interesting that this guy was like, "Yo, good for you, man. Way to have the fucking balls to just do whatever
Right.
the fuck you wanted to do."
Really?
Yeah.
And when you like married your girl, were your parents cool with that?
Whole other podcast.
Yo,
Whole
for
other-
real?
Whole other
Son.
thing.
No.
Son,
Yo, this was a long
Yo,
thing. I was with my girl for years before
Like
I
10
even
years.
mentioned. No, not 10. But for I even
7?
mentioned her name,
Yeah.
7?
the idea of her to my parents.
Bro, the fact
Hold
that-
on, but the whole time he was getting advice from his friends to like, dude, tell your fucking parents. And he was saying, I'm not doing it till we're about to get married. I can't live with that stress.
Yeah.
You don't know what it's like to be me. Blah, 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 blah,
Did you
blah.
see the
And
movie
we're
The
like,
Big
dude,
Sick?
and we're
Yeah,
like,
that's-
dude,
that's
tell
The Big
they're
Sick.
your parents. They love you. We had all met Haney's parents by this time. Like,
Yeah.
tell your fucking parents.
Yeah.
They're going to be more pissed when you tell them, I'm marrying this girl who's not Muslim.
Yeah,
And, and they're going to be like, dude, you all this time you didn't tell us about her?
Yeah, yeah.
They're going to be more pissed. Haney wouldn't listen. And then when he finally told them, they already knew.
Wow.
wait, really?
They basically had a sneaky suspicion, right?
Facts.
Yeah.
Yo, son.
Right?
This is back to the Black Mirror episode. Stop living the lie.
Stop living
It's
the
just
lie.
harder.
There's a movie called The Big Sick that
Yeah.
came out this year.
Yeah.
Slept on movie. Really good. Really,
Really
funny.
good, yeah.
Fix it.
Um,
It's sad, isn't it, though?
Yeah.
Yes, there's a sad element to it.
Otherwise,
But that storyline in that movie is very similar. And I saw the movie with my wife, and like we were both kind of like laughing, like
Right, because you
This is-
because
lived
you
it.
went through that
Yeah.
shit.
Anyway.
But so yeah, the orc thing. That's they did that well. You know what my biggest gripe about this movie is?
What?
I didn't like End of Watch meets Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yeah, so I
Right?
get that.
There's a good cop movie in here, and there's these, the fantasy world in here, and it seemed like they were like kind of like when you said, what did Netflix do? Fincher, Kevin
exactly
Spacey,
what they did.
match up.
Yeah,
They were
yeah,
like,
yeah.
what's hot? Cop movies, Game of Thrones. Let's match up
Bang.
a fantasy world.
Yeah,
I'm in.
It doesn't work.
I
And
like
it
that.
wasn't.
Yeah, yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
like that. Once Edgar Ramirez walked
Meatballs,
on
spaghetti. Put it together.
When you walked on screen as the fucking
Italians have been
elf?
doing this for years, and it seems to work out. We're about to go get Chinese food, right? They know what goes on.
But what if you were like Chinese food / barbecue?
They have that. Wait, that's a
Yeah,
bad
it's called
example.
Korean.
Yeah.
There's a whole
terrible
fucking town made out of it,
was a
right? They
terrible
barbecue the
YouTube-
Chinese food. It's
Yeah.
absolutely fucking delicious.
Yo,
Jack is the mayor.
bad
I'm the mayor. Yeah.
When Edgar Ramirez walked on screen with his blue hair,
Blue
and
fucking
his
hair.
elf ears,
Yeah.
I was just like, this movie really I stopped taking it seriously. I really kind of checked out at that moment.
Yeah.
And I was really trying
Yo, it
hard to
wasn't
check
for
back
you.
in.
Yo, I checked out in the
And-
first scene when he's trying to kill the
But
fairy.
the movie's not bad.
Well, no,
killed
that
that
I
was
think
hilarious.
that was more like people have said that Will Smith has gay rumors, or he's like beating up a fairy. He's like, no, I definitely am not with the gay shit.
Really?
So Netflix was like
no,
a lot of
Whoever thought Big Will
Netflix
was
was like our data says that people think he's gay.
No, but I think what the fairy was about was establishing, hey, this is a world that looks just like Los Angeles, but trust me, it's very different. And that was the first time where we sit there and we realize, oh shit, there's going to be magical creatures here, and everybody's okay with it. It's not weird for the neighbors. It's not weird for them.
That's
Instead
what
of
I felt.
mosquitoes, we got fairies.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
felt,
That's what I
this
felt.
is
And I thought it did a good job. I
Me
was like,
too.
if I can accept this annoying bug fairy thing, okay, I can accept this
That's where
orc
I was
neighbor.
Could have used a smaller fairy. That was like a
The fairy
big
was
enough
too
fairy.
big. It had fingers.
It's like that's a homicide.
Son,
Like,
that's a baby. You're a cop.
That was a
Yeah, you're a cop. You're a
That was
baby
it,
killer.
like, smashed it.
Too much.
Yeah, it was too much.
That's the
Yeah.
difference though. So you guys are saying that's where you guys were in, that's where I was
Where
out.
you were out.
Yeah. And then
Well, I mean, it's the
actually
first
what
scene, so-
what I enjoyed was I've never once walked out of a movie. Like I've never when I go to the theater I'm like in. But I was just like, I'm gonna fast forward through some of this shit. Like I
Yes.
have the ability
Well,
to.
that's because
You could
want-
just as easily move on to the next
But
thing.
you would have just watched. If we didn't have to do this podcast, you would have just watched something else.
You would have
Yeah.
checked out. You would
Yeah,
have
checked
checked
out.
out.
I did that for every female storyline in Friday Night Lights.
Yeah,
I
but
binged.
but you can.
I binged Friday Night Lights, and they're hour-long episodes, and I literally just wanted to see if the team won. Right?
Oh, you just cared about the
I
team?
was invested.
The one guy who's actually watching
I
for
was
the football.
invested in
Betting
the
on the
team.
game. Scores online.
Yeah.
Why do I have to watch the whole
I
episode?
looked online for the record. I
Oh
couldn't find the record without ruining it. So every time it was like the daughter plot or the mom plot, fast forward, back to like something
That's
good.
hilarious.
Boom, there it is. Yeah.
Saracen.
Saracen. Shout out to Saracen.
Yeah, Matt Saracen.
Anyway.
By the way, I've never seen Friday Night Lights. That's
Oh, it's great.
Fam.
incredibly
great.
high on my
Yeah.
list of things.
Oh,
Yeah.
my
We might have
I'm
to
kind of
do.
holding it.
Yo, I've never seen it.
Yo, we might have to pick
I'm
a second
great.
and do that.
Oh my
I thought
god.
you were like, really?
I don't like the type of. I don't like. I don't like the type of people who like it. I don't know. I'm telling you.
You
yo.
mean everybody? Because
Nah,
everybody
no,
likes
nah.
it.
You
Great.
will fucking be
One of
into
the
it.
greatest shows I've ever seen.
It's
One of
I'm
the
phenomenal.
kind of
greatest
waiting
shows
for
I've
like
ever
that time
seen.
where I'm just like, I have nothing. Oh, I'm just gonna bang out.
Put it this
Friday
way:
Night
when
Lights.
you watch that show, you'll understand why everybody in that show that you see in movies now has a career.
Yep.
And
Taylor
all
Kitsch.
of Taylor, whatever,
Yeah.
the dad, who's the
Yo,
dad and everything.
Michael B. Jordan, right?
Yeah,
Nah,
Michael
well,
B.
Michael B. was also in Wire, obviously, but like,
Yeah.
but what you'll do is you'll see, oh, they're just trying to recreate their characters from Friday Night Lights in every single movie that they're in.
Mhm.
I've seen too many people who I know like aren't good at sports like love that movie.
Oh,
And,
it's
like,
for girls.
And I'm looking at him like, yo, man, you never cried in the locker room with a bunch of dudes. Before. You know what I'm saying?
No, the show is made.
Is it?
It's made for women to like a show about sports,
I
and
guess
there's
so.
a distinct difference. I
That's
think
the
it's
first time I've
after
ever heard someone say that. That's interesting.
after season like 2 or something like that. They make a conservative or conservative, whatever that fucking word is, effort. Concerted effort. Is it concerted?
It's concerted.
Concerted effort. They make a concerted effort to like bring aboard because it wasn't getting the numbers that matched the criticism, right? The critics loved it,
Yeah,
but the
yeah.
numbers weren't there.
It was
So
always
like,
never-
what can we do? Let's bring in some chicks. And there's more storylines that are about the daughter dating and all this crap. It's about the season.
It always is.
Oof, and it is
Wins and losses.
wins and losses.
You know what I'm saying?
A lot of wins. Check it
A lot
out.
of
But
wins.
back to Bright. Okay.
Back to Bright. You know what did carry this movie though, and
What?
this is what made me feel good about this movie.
Will Smith
What?
being funny.
Yes, Will Smith was funny again. Will Smith was a movie star again.
in an R
Not
movie.
in a weird way. Will Smith was doing old school Will Smith things,
Yes.
and it felt good.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
felt
well,
good.
it was like Bad Boys Will Smith.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
did you guys feel
the
like he-
good Will Smith.
Did you feel like he was riffing? There were times where
I
he would
felt
say,
that way.
and it was like, yo, he's just saying this. He's fucking
Yeah,
around.
yeah.
Like, this isn't a major motion picture to him. This is a
Yeah.
Netflix movie.
Yeah.
And he's not taking the dialogue so seriously, and it's great.
When he went to the magic wand scene and she was like, oh, I just like killed these people for you, and because he wanted something else, and he was like, yeah, that's a start. Because when he was like, let's get out of here and get to like Palm Springs,
right.
and she's like, well, what do you mean? I just did all these things for you, and he's like, it's a start, like but it was like it felt like he was riffing,
natural, organic, like a bunch of little ball bustery things.
Yeah,
I also like seeing him in R. We haven't seen Will in like a legit.
Yeah. But that's a data piece. They're like, people like R-rated Will Smith. People like Will Smith and Bad Boys. Let's do that. It's all fucking.
So what you're
calculated
describing? Why don't we all do that? That seems like it. I mean, look. If you ask me, if I'm somebody who's a content creator, right, and I'm not like an artist. I'm a content creator, right?
You're a studio. You're not.
I'm a studio. I don't care about the art. I care about delivering a product that people will eat and digest. I would look up these data points. I would look up what people are interested in, and I would look up what type of Will they like.
I don't think you can create I mean, this is going into like creative
get in there
concepts.
Go.
I think art can't come from data. Like good work can't come out of
great.
like. So for me, it's like it kind of just becomes a numbers thing, and I'm like, I don't like the whole thing.
So now, but that's the problem with Will Smith's career.
Because he's always gone by the numbers.
Calculated guy who's always picked his next script by a certain set of parameters.
Mm-hmm.
Like these are always blockbusters, and he's got a checklist, and his team has always done that checklist
from
and
the
that's
90s.
From the 90s.
And if you look
the
at the
fact
90s,
that he became as big as he is not an accident.
So maybe you can do that.
But if you look at the 90s,
but that's also where it went off the rail.
He had a string of just phenomenal run.
Right.
And
the
then
4th
it
of
fell
July
off
Will Smith weekend.
Yeah,
You know
exactly.
what I mean?
And then it started to fall off as he got into the 2000s, probably later 2000s.
Right.
And now it's become almost like a joke, like a Will Smith movie. You're like, oh, this is going to suck.
Right.
Dude, have you guys seen Independence Day recently, by the way?
So good.
First of all,
Haven't seen
not
it in a
only
long
does it
time.
hold up,
It's
this
so
is
good.
how big of what a fucking superstar Will Smith is. I thought it was his movie. I watched that movie again. He's in like 20 minutes
It is
of
his
the movie.
movie.
No,
It is, but it's really, it's not in terms of screen time. It's 20 minutes.
Dominates.
Is it 20 minutes?
That's my
I
argument.
know,
What I'm
I know.
trying to say is he's such a
I know,
superstar.
I'm with you.
The way I remember, I don't know exactly 20, but the way I remember the movie.
Yeah, you think about it. He's in every scene.
Every scene.
Yeah.
He's barely in the
So
fucking
the thing
movie.
about Will Smith is that
He's an extra.
for us three particular, maybe you're a little bit younger than us. He's like our superstar.
Yeah.
The guys that like we're 33, 34.
Yeah.
Like he's our guy. Like,
Our sense of humor
we
is
grew up
based
with
on him. Yeah.
Are based on him. Like we watched Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah.
Like especially for like white kids. Like this was like an
Fresh Prince was huge,
This was
yeah.
my Cosby's.
Will
Like,
Smith,
this is what I saw.
Vince Vaughn.
Right.
That's kind of who created our sense of humor,
Right,
created how we
right.
speak to girls,
Right.
the whole thing.
The whole
Yeah,
thing.
Yeah.
And like he was, we watched him become a superstar, and he was like our superstar.
Yeah.
So that's why like we have like kind of a bond with Will Smith.
And it's almost like sad when you see him in a shitty movie. You're like,
Sucks.
man, it breaks your heart because that's you a little bit.
He was our hero.
And
That's
guess what?
fucking
And
Luke.
guess what?
That's
You
why
know
they
who's
feel
Luke?
that way about Luke.
That's the thing.
Guess
He
what?
fell.
Who can afford Netflix and may not want to go out to the movie theaters? Guys our age.
Wow. A data point.
It's all, I swear to God, every single thing in this movie is a data point. Every single fucking
But
thing.
what if you get the data points and then you hire an artist to make art?
That's true.
I mean,
Art and science.
That's it. You get the nerds to do the nerd shit, and then you get the artists to do the artist shit, and you get something beautiful.
have we seen that yet? Have we seen it work in that way?
I mean,
Ooh.
Alex just said Marvel movies, and don't think for a second that Marvel isn't using data points. They're not just a bunch of free-thinking artists out there throwing around
No.
whimsical
Their,
ideas.
their plan of them releasing the movies is 100% data, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
And and it makes sense. But the fact that how they're executing it, they're giving it to the artist.
But they don't have the direct access. So that's like we're talking about the actual studio model, traditional, where it comes out in theaters, and sure they can get the numbers to the ticket sales. Netflix is directly in our part. Like Netflix has access to all of our activity. It's like what we're doing.
Yeah.
So they have more access. Like they have more data than Marvel does with, and they have their
Right.
TV shows, but like
They have the perfect data for their viewer base because they know exactly what their viewing habits are. Right? It's
yeah.
imagine a restaurant.
And they know what they're like.
Yeah.
Narcos was big. Have you noticed that there's a lot more Spanish related
Absolutely.
shows?
Mhm.
Right? Like my wife was watching House de Papel or something like that. Like she's watching all of them. Like she's crushing all these things.
This is what happens when you don't have a Muslim wife.
She's
Okay, if you had a Muslim wife, she wouldn't even know what the TV was.
But there's like two other ones that she's watching. I'm like, what? Like, is this the same show? She's like, no, it's different. I'm like, what the fuck? Like Netflix is just plowing these out because they know that there's a market for this now.
Son, Netflix India is going to explode.
Yo,
Dead ass.
yeah,
Dead ass. Like
sure.
Netflix India is going to fucking. Matt, you have, what are they, 2 billion people over there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have 2 billion people at your disposal. I mean, that's the difference maker.
Right.
Bollywood is a bigger industry than Hollywood. just off of sheer numbers. Anyway,
My whole thing is like, if we and this, I already said this, but like, if we saw this in theaters, like if we saw Justice League on Netflix, I think you would have liked it more.
Yes.
Ooh, good
Yes.
call.
This is
Great
my
call.
question.
And so
great point.
for me, it's like I still hold to the same standard. This is a trash movie, in my opinion. I think people only liked it because they have access to it in their own.
This is my question.
Let's go with that. Yeah.
And it's based on this.
Mhm.
The economics of how this movie makes money,
Mhm.
right? Right. How does Netflix Netflix created it, right? So it's within their global budget,
Mhm.
right?
Which is insane at this point.
What is funny is that this is where these tweener blockbusters should go. Like when you have if this came out as a blockbuster, this wouldn't have done well,
No.
and people would
bombed.
not have gone and seen this, right? Even if it had good reviews, people would be like,
I would
I
not
don't
have
get
seen
this. This doesn't make sense. I'm not going to go see this.
Yeah.
But it's Will Smith. But it's this mythological creation that makes it feel like it's this blockbuster.
Sure.
There's a lot of other movies like that too. You take the risk off the table of making a bomb. You get Netflix to fund it, and then you have people like it with a decent reception.
It's
that are
5
gonna enjoy
napkins
it.
burger.
It's 5 napkins
Compared
That's
to Five
exactly
Guys.
what it is.
Yeah.
It's not David Burke.
right.
If you gave a 5 napkins burger to somebody at a David Burke or another great steak restaurant, you'd be like, this burger's okay. Or I don't know if it bombed, but you'd be like, it's okay. I
Yeah.
don't need to go see this. But it's a great mid-priced burger
Right.
for
It's
the
not fast
platform.
food in and out.
It's
burger.
not fast food. It's
a
one
good
level up,
burger.
but it's a fucking for where it's at.
Right.
You're like, well, this is $14. This is delicious.
Right.
And I think that's what they hit the nail on the head. And I think that should be the business model. We don't need to do DC here.
No.
We could take off $100 million and do these mid levels because now what happens is in the future, what happens when all movies shift?
But they paid a lot.
I don't think they will. What do you mean? Say it again.
What happens when the model shifts to
It's already
an
shifting.
at home? It is already shifting.
But I think
Then the expectation will rise, right?
Yeah, but I think the stone cold blockbusters are always going to be out there.
Fair.
Right? Like the movie,
I
there are
agree.
going to be certain movies that, but there's only so many of those movies.
Right.
That this is the home run.
Yeah.
Right? We got Spielberg, we got DiCaprio.
Put
we're
it out.
coming out there, we're putting
Let's
it
go.
out, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of stuff that it's like, ooh, I had a big budget and I don't know how that one's going to do, right?
Yeah.
That's the stuff that should gravitate towards the streaming
Yeah.
market.
Yeah, like to a certain extent, when we watched Black Mirror, there were a bunch of short films,
Short films.
not big enough or good enough to hold an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But great if you lock them together and put
Sure.
this. So they found maybe that's what it's
So-
about, finding
so
the fucking home for your shit.
Are you guys aware that Netflix has been putting out original movies?
Yes.
Right. This is the first
One that clip.
that cost $100 million.
Yeah.
But Netflix has put out.
Yeah.
Even this year, I watched The Discovery. It's a Jason
Mhm.
Segel movie, low budget, solid movie. They had
There's
Okja.
Myra-
What was Okja?
Oh, Okja,
Okja.
but
Okja?
they bought that. That was
That
originally
wasn't
a
theirs.
Korean
Okay.
movie. Yeah.
There was another one.
Meyerowitz
original-
Project.
Meyerowitz Project.
Beast of No Nation, which was controversial because it should have
Right.
been nominated and didn't because the industry was like, fuck Netflix.
Right.
Yeah.
These
But-
are like lower.
movie.
These movies didn't cost as much as a blockbuster.
Right.
Solid movies. This is a blockbuster
This was the first attempt
with
at-
the blockbuster actor.
So here's my question: how much does it cost to promote a film like a DC or Marvel? Like, what is that budget?
Oh,
80,
man.
80 million?
It depends on the project, but yeah, you could 30, 40, 50 million. Like,
I've heard even up to 80. But,
yeah,
but
for
let's
the
just
big
say,
level stuff. Yeah,
for
yeah.
big level stuff, 80. Let's say for mid level, let's say 50 is just fair for a big movie. We'll
Mhm.
we'll undersize it, right?
Mhm.
With Netflix, and I don't know about you guys, I've seen very few signs promoting Bright because they're already in your email. They're already on the front screen.
It's in
So
your head.
you're
yeah.
saving 75% of your promo budget.
Right.
Put that back into the movie. So a
Mhm.
$200 million movie, a lot of people don't know this, is actually a $250 million movie because they don't include promo budget into
Right.
it.
Mhm.
That's what I was gonna ask.
So you take that promo budget, you put it right back in the movie. So they spent 90 on the movie, and then they spent maybe 10 million on promo.
Mhm.
It's a $100 million movie that you get $170 million value out of.
That's interesting.
The math
That's
makes sense.
interesting.
Like you get to save the 50 in promo because you're already in their house.
But,
It
your,
also-
but your upside's capped.
That's right.
Right.
Your upside is that's a great point.
Your upside's capped.
That's a great point.
This is basically the marketing budget for Netflix.
Mhm.
Like they're driving viewership,
that's
and my marketing. I have $100 million to spend or $200
Yeah.
million to spend this year in marketing.
yeah.
Round numbers. I'm gonna make
Just
a
like
$100 million movie out of it.
Explain upside's capped.
And then when you put out a movie that you maybe cost $75 million to make,
you can make
My
$1
Big
billion.
Rat Freak Wedding, right?
Yeah.
Like, that costs like
Big
$25
rat
million.
freak wedding.
Listen. Listen,
Big rat
please do
freak
not
wedding.
describe the girls you have one night stands with. Okay, we want to hear about my big fat Greek wedding.
My big rat.
My rat freak. Listen, the rat freak came over the other day. I put a little tip of cheese on my dick. It was great. Gnawed that shit off and went to town.
Yo, they need like a. So they have like
Says spank my ass like it's a trap.
Back to Marconomics. Go ahead.
So the upside is you can make a small budget movie that could just absolutely blow up and be a total cult hit, and, and then it becomes a huge.
So you
Money
spend 75 and you could make $1 billion.
Well, like Star Wars, you
Right.
spend $200 million and you still make $2 billion.
Right,
You know
right,
what
right.
I mean? So
but
that's your upside.
but what you're saying is with Netflix, they're spending maybe 80, 90 million.
And you're not realizing the gains.
Yeah, you can't make $1 billion off that movie
No.
unless you get all these new people signing up, etc.
Correct.
All right.
It's important to know too that they're unaffected. Like Netflix is just unaffected. At least with this model, with their TV shows, it's different, but unaffected by critics. So like critics hated this thing, and this set records. I think they had 10 million
11
views, 11 million within like a week.
Yeah.
They greenlit it, the sequel right away.
Yeah.
Like if this was a movie that came out in theaters and bombed, which it probably would have if it came out in theaters, this is done. This project is done. It's a loss for the studio. This is a huge win for Netflix, even though.
If you get 1 out of 4 of these to be good for Netflix,
You're good.
you're golden.
Yeah.
Do you know what the
Because
biggest?
It's so easy to watch.
Do you know what the biggest hits for Netflix are?
No.
Adam Sandler movies.
Yep. That's
And
why
I
he has
haven't
that like
seen a
9
single one of them.
and they're all trash.
I'm not
They're
talking about
bad?
the old school
Yeah.
Happy Gilmore Adam Sandler movies. I'm talking about like
Kevin
Grown
James,
Ups
Adam-
9,
yeah,
right?
Oh,
Like,
well, that's my dad's market. Like, he loves that.
but that's your dad's market and it's little kids' market too.
Yeah, they love that humor.
right. Little
yeah.
kids love Adam Sandler movies.
where they're all pissing in the pool and they're like
Fart
"What's going on?"
jokes,
Yeah.
dick jokes, that kind of shit like that. Yeah.
But I think that's why, and this goes back to kind of what we covered too, but that's why that's why critics really hate on this, because critics have power. Rotten Tomatoes, and I guess now it's owned by Flickster, which is part of the thing, they have so much control over the movie industry, over like who goes to see what, and they almost have too much control. A lot of the studio like execs and heads say that the Rotten Tomatoes is just too much power over the industry, and this is kind of taking that away. Because now,
Well, how do they have so much power? How does
because
that?
if you're going to iPick and you're going to spend $60,
Yeah.
you're going to make sure that the movie you're seeing, you can check out and read a couple reviews and be like, all right, I'm into this or
But
I'm
I
not.
thought it's all user based.
No, it's all, they compile, there's an audience rating, but the whole model of Rotten Tomatoes is it compiles all of the reviews from every, publication. Metacritic, yeah.
Oh, so you have an algorithm that allots a certain percentage to regular users, to critics, etc. And
it
99%
directly affects-
means that everybody liked it unanimously.
It's like if it's over 70%, it's fresh. It's like certified fresh, and that means it's like a good movie, a pretty good movie. If it's 90, it's a great movie.
Get it because it's tomatoes, so it's fresh.
So it got to be
tomato.
fresh.
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Like Get Out came out in February. That's normally when shitty movies come out, and it had like a 99% Rotten Tomatoes. I think,
For a
and
while.
it broke records in terms of box office. I don't doubt that part of the reason why, other than word of mouth, is that it got such a high rating because it's a great movie. But like people got that through Rotten Tomatoes, just like you get that it's a bad movie. So I think it's taking the power away, which is probably good. It's like an equalizer. But
Sure. There's going to be a sequel to this too.
yeah, it's already happening.
Yeah.
It's already in the books.
Well, that's something I'll give it up to the guy who created it. I feel like when I'm watching it, I'm going, he created a world that could not only have maybe 3 movies about this world, but there could be spin-off movies about each independent world. They keep referencing this old, this war that happened 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
If you get us invested enough into these characters, drop the three-peat about that old orc war. Where the orcs chose the wrong side and the elves and that. Now you're back in like almost Game of Thrones land. Not Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, Hobbit kind of thing. You could go. What I heard a lot of people criticize this about is there wasn't enough backstory. They didn't develop it enough.
Maybe you get more of that in the second one. That's
Exactly.
What I'm hoping for, yeah.
What I don't get is, I get why Netflix will dump a lot of money to a show, right? You're going to get 10 hours of content for something like, so like if I'm watching a show, it's going to take me say a month to watch a show, right? A movie, spending $100 million on a movie, that's just 2 hours. I'm done with it that day, right? So it consumed, trashed, right? Does it make sense for them to do this, or shouldn't
They're
they
trying
just
to make Netflix irreplaceable in your life.
I get it.
Okay, so just putting out TV shows and
But
low
it's
budget stuff.
But like, why? Like,
I'll tell you
yeah,
why.
they're making it so it's you have to. It's
$100 million
indispensable.
movie.
Once it's independent, once it's indispensable,
Right.
You start doing tiered viewership.
Right.
And tiered viewership is, oh yeah, it's $9.99 for all the TV shows and films.
If you want movies.
Oh, but if you want movies,
Mhm.
that's $15.99. And now you've already seen so many movies. You have a podcast you do with your friend that reviews the movies.
Mm-hmm.
You have your girlfriend, and you guys watch one of these movies once a month. And all of a sudden, you go, well, it's only $5. Now you're getting $5 a month,
Right.
and you don't even go see a movie once a month.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does that net neutrality stuff kind of factor into all this stuff?
I honestly, I don't know what the net neutrality thing
it's
is.
not.
It's fine.
It's not.
No, because that's more like the gatekeepers of the internet, like Verizon, FiOS, and
If anything, it helps
Com-
them. If anything, it helps Netflix. It's new. It's newer
Oh,
websites.
it definitely helps them. Yeah.
It's newer websites. It's not going to drive up prices of this stuff.
Yeah, Netflix.
That's not going to happen.
Well, Netflix wants net neutrality.
Well, yeah, of course they do. All the big companies want net neutrality.
Wait,
No,
explain-
they don't want net neutrality.
No, they do. That's
They
the thing
do,
that
bro.
people misunderstand.
Yeah.
So, because what happens is, right now with net neutrality, what net neutrality is everybody basically pays the same amount for internet. You're not allowed to charge different amounts for different types of internet.
For the companies that, like
So-
AT&T
Producing
or...
content on the internet or
No,
a website.
No.
no.
So just in general. So
No, like
so
I-
Verizon. I'll explain.
Right.
So Verizon charges us. Let's just say put it out there, $50 for internet.
Right.
Right. We all get charged $50 for internet. Your mom gets charged $50. I get charged $50.
Right.
Now I use way more internet than your mom.
Right.
Right. Your mom, let's say, doesn't go. Let's just hypothetically say she doesn't go on Netflix. She doesn't go on Instant Messenger. She doesn't go on social media. Anything. She literally just uses internet for email. Without net neutrality, or sorry, without net neutrality, she could buy a type of internet that just allows her to message and do emails, which is what she does. Uses the internet for. Right now, she's subsidizing our Netflix watching.
Correct.
Now, studios like Netflix and these other internet-based things have put millions of dollars into lobbying layman folk, regular people, into thinking that net neutrality is this important thing. It's not.
Right.
They just don't want to get fucked. So the real fair thing is to have an old lady be able to buy just email and messaging if she wants for $20.
The same way you get a cable subscription and you get like 3 channels instead of 10, right?
Right.
There's no different than cable. And,
Right.
and people are making it into this big deal. Like, the internet is going to be taken over by Verizon. It's the same as your cable package. You either get HBO or you don't get HBO. It's really no
Right.
different.
That's what it's going to be.
Yeah, but people have made it into a big deal. They've really been kind of bullied. And all you need to do is look at who wants it and who doesn't want it to
Right.
find out what the
Right.
reality
And
is.
these internet companies need to make up the delta that they're going to lose from the cable subscriptions.
Delta means difference.
Yeah.
Correct.
In business terms.
So
We don't know that. You
So-
got to explain that to us.
I think
So,
you're talking
like-
about Delta
so, like,
Airlines.
when so right now you're also being subsidized by your fucking telephone package, even though you don't own a fucking telephone.
Exactly.
They make you buy a triple
Yeah,
play,
yeah,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you have this phone. never had a phone hooked up in my
Haven't had a
life as
landline
an adult.
As an adult.
And the same thing is going to happen now eventually with the cable. As more kids cut the cord, they're going to be just internet users. Now Verizon needs to figure out, okay, I just lost $100 a month. Where am I going to make that
Where am I
up?
going to get back?
I'm going to get it back somehow.
Now, they also don't have to supply that service anymore, so they get to save some money on labor and all that kind of shit like that.
No,
but
but
it's the same thing.
yeah.
It will end up being the same thing. But people are like, oh my God, they're going to take away some of our websites. No, they're not going to take away.
They're not going to
they're
charge
not gonna take away
$1.99
websites.
for a Google search.
They're not going to do that
Right.
because
Right.
they have to compete with someone else who provides
Correct.
internet. Because, and this is the great thing that happens here. We're used to a cable company that dominates our life because it's kind of a monopoly.
Right.
You either get Spectrum or you have no internet in your building.
Right.
But internet is moving to wireless. So as it moves to wireless, I could get that same package not from Spectrum. I could get it from Verizon. I could
Right.
get it from these other sources. It's not one building has one cable thing and then they could do whatever they want. Once we can compete, there's no way you're going to take any channels away from me because, Poppy, if you take channels away from me, I'm going to...
Right.
But the other aspect of net neutrality, though, is that like any website you access is at the same speed, right?
This is a good art. This is something that's...
So the problem is like if I start up like marcosblog.net and like you have google.com, you get to Google the same speed. Like they operate on the same speed. Right. The concern that a lot of people have was that now Google can pay for the highest speed access, whereas I can't pay the same amount as Google to get you to my website faster.
Right.
So now is
The
it
rich
going to
go-
hurt?
the rich are going to get richer.
Is it going to hurt the smaller guy that are trying to compete in this space?
So I think that's the lobbying argument that they
That's
make.
the lobbying argument.
But I think the reality of the matter is that any good service provider wouldn't hinder the speed
because you're going to hurt your customer.
because you're going to hurt your customer. And then I would just go to the company because now I have the ability to go to whatever company.
Exactly.
I'm going to go to a company that doesn't turn down the speed. But what I can do is if Netflix decides that they don't want to pay me what I believe they should pay me, I
Right.
could tell Netflix, hey, I'm going to have to throttle your speed if you don't
Right.
pay what I believe you deserve to pay for bandwidth.
Right.
Now you're uploading all these things onto our bandwidth
Correct.
that costs us money,
Yep.
and you're not paying more?
Yeah.
Sorry, you're going to have to up the price. So
Right.
that gives them more leverage with Netflix, but they would never hurt the consumer
No.
because once you do,
Go on.
and you know how much it costs to get someone back? Apparently,
Possible.
once you leave a cell phone company, it costs them $10,000 in advertising to bring
To get
you
a new
back.
customer. Yeah.
No
No,
way.
to bring you back
Okay,
from
gotcha.
leaving. That's why when you go on the phone, you're like, yo,
You
I'm
know, just
leaving.
cut that person a check.
Fam, give me 5Gs.
Give me 5Gs.
I'm back.
I'm
Bye,
back,
Sprint.
man, yeah.
I can hear you now.
Yeah.
So I have a question. How long do you think before things really change?
Well,
Things are
this didn't
changing.
exist prior to 2015. There were no net neutrality laws prior to 2015.
No.
So get
You know what I'm saying?
Get
No,
but
I'm talking.
get into that.
I'm
That's
trying,
an
I'm
important.
trying to get back to Netflix and this movie and the movie industry and tying with net neutrality.
Oh.
How long before like things are just like?
Just
how long
real
before
quick, though.
every month, every week, there's a big movie dropping on Netflix?
How long?
Yeah.
Like you're saying, it's going in this direction.
Which how
So
many-
how long?
And how long before there's less movies dropping in theaters?
Yo, it could happen rapidly, I think.
5
5 to 7 years? Is that too long?
Dude, less.
I don't know. I'm totally fucking spitballing.
Actually, no.
How many movies Netflix put out?
No.
a
Here's what it
dozen
is.
movies
Here's
this
what it
year.
is. Here's what it is. It can't be too short because movies are on a 3-year production cycle.
Right.
So the movies that Lionsgate or whatever has already approved and started to make now aren't going to come out until 3 years, and they've already signed deals, I would imagine, with certain theater companies to put them out. So it's going to be more delayed than a completely natural, free-flowing thing would be. And those movies are going to lose a lot
Shitload.
of fucking money.
Yeah.
Because we'll have already adapted to this.
Yeah.
So, like an independent movie or like a smaller budget movie, the films are much quicker, right? Like
Yo.
you film things in like
6 months.
6 weeks, and then
Quick.
how long does it take to edit it and final it?
The film I'm going to film it right now in Pittsburgh is, I think we're going to do in a month. It's
You're
a
gonna do it in a
feature-length
month.
film. Yeah.
How long before they edit it?
Less
Post
than that.
production.
Less than that.
6 months.
What do you think?
It's the same thing as
So
when we were talking
you
about
can-
There's
you
Johnny
can have
versus
this movie-
Stranger Things.
Ready to be viewed for the public within.
So
You're gonna film it in January, and you're gonna have it. You can have it out by June, right?
ideally, they should put it out for Christmas because it's Christmas film.
Obviously, but I'm
agreed,
saying,
yeah.
but like
Jack,
the
is that timeline seem? Jack knows better than I
right?
do.
So Netflix said they announced like a while ago that they're gonna do like 50 movies or something like next year.
They have a number, yeah. I don't know what the number
I
is.
forget what the
that
number is, but I don't know if it was like 20 or 50, but it was like they're really blowing out the budget.
Yep.
They're just gonna be dropping movies all the time on Netflix in 2018 or 2019.
Well, then it becomes behavioral for a younger generation that they don't go to the movies
Exactly.
anymore.
That's what
Like,
they want.
Our
Yeah,
generation went to the movies as
Yeah.
kids. So we still go to movies. It's not that big of a deal to us.
Yeah.
As kids get older and are now like become the target market and are now paying these things themselves and getting
Yeah.
these subscriptions, they're not conditioned to go to movies anymore.
It's writing
not
a letter.
for them.
So think about this.
It's
I'm
writing
not
a letter.
writing a
It's
letter.
like-
I
We
haven't
grew
done
up
it.
with cable, and we had cable in our house. And then when we left our house and we got our own place, what was the first thing we did? We called the cable company. We got cable
Yeah.
because we had to,
Yeah.
right? Now, kids that are growing up with Netflix, growing up with streaming services, right? They have it. They're not paying for it. The first thing to do when they get it on their own is they're going to call these streaming services, or not call, but obviously they're going to sign up for the streaming services right away
Mhm.
because that's what it is.
Mhm.
And they're not going to be calling cable, and they're not going to be going.
Well,
to
yeah, they
movies.
got to get internet hooked up to get the streaming shows. So they are going to be calling them. It doesn't
No,
totally
they'll
go
do it
other
on their phone or some shit like but you know what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, but I'm saying specifically for the moviegoer.
You don't even need to have internet. You can have a cell phone. That's internet. I get it. But you don't need to have like house internet.
Yeah, you do to watch the
To
stuff.
watch
you
it
need
at
to.
home. But yeah.
So
Yeah.
so eventually the internet, in the ether, will be so good that you don't need to have that cable
Probably,
unit.
right,
I mean,
correct.
it is already good enough to watch it on our phones right here. And me personally, my TV is hooked up through that internet. Like I don't have a cable directly in.
Right.
to my TV. I have a smart TV that uses Wi-Fi to get to. Okay,
Duh.
but I didn't think that the TV would be able to render shit fast enough for Netflix.
Sure,
it is.
right.
That's wild. I don't have that. That's crazy.
I mean,
Really?
The wireless.
I didn't even
cable?
want it. I wanted the direct thing because I assume, how we're
go
like
HDMI
old. We're like
all the way.
Ethernet. Get the cord in there. That's what the speed is.
Yeah.
But it's the Wi-Fi's quick now.
Huh.
Yeah, I have 2 TVs. One is connected to a cable box. The other one has like a Roku stick plugged into it. And
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think what you said, this level blockbuster, the mid level, is gonna thrive in this format.
It's gonna be great.
I think there's always gonna be the Star Wars or like the Christopher Nolan movie or like those are always gonna be like the summer blockbusters, the Marvel movies. Like you're gonna go to iPick and spend that money on that. But you're gonna see a lot of these independent movies, these award movies, like they're going to be all over these streamings, or they're going to have their own. Like it would be smart if the studios, if you bought like a Fox box, right, and it's like Fox Studios, and you get all access for like a monthly $50 fee or something, you get access to the movies of that month, right?
And that's what they're doing.
That's the way they would have to do it.
And we're hitting award season now, and every year the awards that get the movies that get discussed aren't. It's not Star Wars. It's not Marvel.
Right.
It's these like really random movies that people don't see.
Mm-hmm.
And if all these prestige movies are now on Netflix or
It draws
Amazon
people
or
in,
whatever the hell it is.
Because
Then like they're really going to be
those
crushing
movies
it.
don't need to be in the theater either. Like I needed to see Star Wars in the theater.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You don't see,
There's a good
I have
so-
Star Wars. I haven't
so-
even watched it because I want to see it in the theater.
Yeah, you have the screener.
Yeah.
We talk about screeners. I asked you if you got on Phantom Thread yet, right?
Yeah.
So Phantom Thread's a movie directed by this guy, Paul Thomas
Great
Anderson.
movie, yeah.
And I said, I don't like seeing his movies in theaters. I like seeing his movies on the couch.
Mhm.
I don't think his movies are good enough to see in the theater. But for some reason, when I watch it on my couch, I'm like, wow, this is a fucking dope-ass movie.
But that goes
Right?
back to this. But
So-
we're talking about like
Expectations.
high quality. We're talking
But if
about like
I'm sitting in a theater for his movies are like 2.5,
Yeah,
2
yeah,
hours,
yeah.
40
Yeah, it's a
minutes.
lot, B.
It's a lot.
You
right?
want to be able to pause it and pee.
It's a great couch movie.
yeah.
And how many movies are going to be great couch movies?
a lot.
So
here's-
now a lot.
No,
all of them except for like 1%.
Well, check it because a great movie is still a great couch movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Independence Day is the shit on your couch or at
Sure.
the theater, right?
Great
So is
theater.
Star Wars, right? So it don't matter. So, but you can also have that tier of movies that are just great on your couch.
It's like anytime you're flicking through the channels and Departed's on, you can't not
yeah,
watch
you can
it.
watch a
You know
little
what I
of that
mean?
shit. So I think what this is great for, this new Netflix model is going to be great for. This is actually going to cause a resurgence in film because I think what happened
hope so.
was so what I think what happened was this. I think that the mid-level movie that was this got turned into the greatest series of all time. The mid-level movie, instead of being a mid-level movie, was The Wire or Sopranos or Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad could have easily been one of these mid-level movies, but what they did is studios were like, no, we only make $300 million movies. We only make $200 million. We don't know what this $50 million mid-level, we're not risking $50 million on no actor or nothing. So they ended up in the hands of these TV execs who were like, okay, let's fucking...
Is that true though?
I don't think that they were written as movie. I just think writers were like, nobody's going to make this $50 million. Why don't I stretch it out and turn it into TV?
Yeah.
And then we had the golden age of television. And now, with a place for these mid-level, no big actor, nothing that you have to pay a lot, but a great storyline, a great world, I think you're going to see the resurgence of the independent film or like the mid-level film.
So the same way that like
Well,
in the
going back to Jack's point, are they going to go off data or are they going to go off actual art?
it depends on what the Netflix is going to go off the data until it becomes
Or what
So these mid-level movies aren't these
a lot of them are made
great
already.
movies. They're just bullet point.
A lot of them are made already.
Right.
So like the independent person who goes, I'm going to make Koju or whatever that
Okja.
Okja, right? I'm going to make Okja. And then Netflix is like, hey, we need content. That movie's dope.
We'll buy it.
Copped.
Yeah.
And I think that will happen, like, ideally.
I hope so.
So, like, Whitney Cummings made a movie that I was in.
Yeah.
Independent film. She sold it to IFC.
Yep.
Right? Not the TV channel, but the movie.
Mhm.
So she's going to show in the theaters. She could easily sold that to a Netflix.
Right.
And I think we'll see a lot more of that and more people willing to risk that $10 million because there's a buyer instead of playing the fucking, what is it, those award shows? What are they? Cannes and
Cannes and Venice Film Festival, Toronto.
Sundance.
Yeah.
they put them in the film festival and then they just sit there and hope.
Yeah. Hope that it'll get acquired by one of the big studios or by yeah, it's interesting. In the early 90s, early to mid 90s, there was a resurgence of the independent, that was like the golden age of independent movies. That
Right.
could easily happen again. But now we're talking about independent movies that are like 30 million to 50 million.
It's a
Instead
weird
of-
range,
but
right?
Instead of 300,000 to
I was-
500,000.
No,
to a
but
million.
it's a weird range,
Yeah.
right? It's like, because who's going to spend $30 million? Like, I don't have this money,
it's
but I'd
less.
rather spend $100 million with Will Smith than $30 million with Andrew Schulz.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
I mean,
I
sure.
know I'm fucking in the red with Will Smith, but it's fucking Will Smith. He's gonna bring
Right.
with me at the helm of your movie. Who the fuck knows? The movie got to be great,
Yeah.
and then
Gotta
you
be
find
great.
me.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it's less. I know, like, they gave, I forget, maybe it was like Jake Johnson. He did a movie for Netflix, some gambling movie. I think he just like, they gave me like 8 to 10 million. Or just like, just deliver it when it's done.
It's great.
Right? And that was it. So he was like, it was great. I didn't get notes. I had artistic freedom, do whatever I wanted. They gave me my budget. I still want to stay within it. They didn't have a problem. Right? So it's even like less. So you're even going to see some of that. Some great movies come out for under 10 million.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right? So,
I mean, all these great comedies are $5 million
right.
films, right? Like all the not Wedding Crashers, but what was that other one?
Well, that's a whole nother.
Superbad?
That might maybe ties into
The
this.
Super Bad
Could
style,
not have been
right?
a big budget.
Nah, they're small budget, these movies.
When was the last time we had a good comedy?
Yo,
I
it's been
talked
a
about
minute.
this the other day. There is, like, no one's having a run, right?
Yeah, because
Growing
it's a
up, you
tough.
had, like,
it's a
the
tough
Sandler
place.
run, the Vince Vaughn run, the Apatow run.
You're
Right.
talking to me.
Right. No one's having a run right now in comedy.
Because
How
where
do
are
you
they going
feel
to do
about
it?
that?
Are they going to do it in
There's
this?
no one that's, like,
I
no
don't-
one's having a run.
No
right
one
now.
took the mantle from like the Apatow guys.
Yeah, they thought it was going to be Amy, and then just people didn't watch the movie, I guess. I don't know. I haven't watched
People
any.
went to it, but
But that was Apatow. That was kind of like an extension of the Apatow.
Oh, are you talking about director or are you talking about actor?
I'm talking about the style,
Yeah.
right? Where you're just like, yo, that group, that actor, that whatever is going to give me, I know the funny movie I'm about to get.
those used to be great. Like the Apatow model was like make a movie for mid.
Oh, Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart's had the run. Kevin
Yeah.
Hart kills it.
But
We
it's
might not like
that
it,
funny.
but there's a difference between you think it's funny and the world think it's funny.
No. Here's the. I guess
You know
I'm
what I
more
mean?
picky. Like all these movies, they were like kind of like R-rated comedies. Kevin Hart's going big, and he's kind of making them PG-13, and he's making these like fluff comedy movies, and they're entertaining, but they're not like
Numbers-wise,
gut-busting
you're
funny.
Numbers wise, and that's really all that matters. Unless if we're discussing artistic merit, then we could go back to some of the movies of people we thought had a run, and we could be like, all right, that ain't that. I don't know if Lil Dicky is or whatever the
Little
fuck.
Dicky.
That was the end of the run, though.
What is it?
Lil Nicky.
Lil Nicky.
I was
Yeah,
like, Lil Nicky.
whatever
What
that
was
shit
it?
is. Yeah. Though I did think that movie was kind of funny. Lil
It
Nicky.
was
There
funny.
was some moments
It
in that
was.
movie when he's
It
just
was.
smashing.
You
his
and everyone
dead
else
foot.
on Netflix that watched it.
Exactly.
Well,
It's a
Anyway,
good question. What
it-
happens with comedy? Who's going to make the push?
that's the thing. Who's going to take like the Apatow run was great because it made a shitload. Every movie made a shitload of money, and it was made for like in this mid-range level that we're talking about. People don't want to take the risk now, so it's like
Is that what it is? You think?
yeah. I think there's not as many bankable like Apatow. He still has that the name
Yeah, he
Apatow, like an
does.
Apatow production. He could still get a movie made with that. That's how Big Sick got.
Apatow's still
produced
making movies,
Dude,
yeah.
even with
No, I know
HBO,
that.
And Big
they
Sick
said
was probably
8
the
episodes.
funniest movie I saw this year.
Yeah. Wait, what's that?
Even with HBO, I did an episode of Crashing, and they
Yeah.
said this is Apatow for a TV series, and they were still like, "We'll give you 8 episodes."
Yeah.
I mean, this is this is the biggest comedy director
Yeah.
who's
Yeah.
producing a show and is
Yeah.
directly involved in it.
Yeah.
Probably said he's going to direct the pilot,
Mm.
and they'll be like, "We'll start you with 8."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's wild.
Yeah.
Just doesn't seem like there's anyone out there right now.
Well, I think what it is, and this is what you were saying. The TV execs, the big movies that are being made, they go, "What was this? Was this a book that a bunch of women watched or that read, like 50 Shades of Grey? Was this a cartoon?
Is it
a-
already
a
existing
Marvel?
property that we know we can bank on?
I'm not spending $100 million unless it's already existing property.
Mhm.
That's plain and
Mhm.
simple. And so these people started taking the stuff that wasn't already existing, and they wrote TV shows out of it instead, because the TV channels don't have the budget to spend $300 million.
I think the comedies are in TV. Like now you're finding like auteur comedies like Atlanta and
But
True.
they're auteur.
Insecure. Right, they're auteur.
Right?
Yeah.
We got a lot of artsy comedies out.
Right.
Which is
But
cool.
where's the-
I enjoy them.
Where's the mass comedy? Where's
Sometimes you just want a belly laugh, though, man.
Yeah, man. Like, and honestly, not for nothing. Like, a lot of that shit comes from we're too PC right now for this shit,
yeah.
right? Like, a lot of that shit comes from you have to say fucked up things, and we're just a little too PC for the belly, like the funny shit.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's very true.
Yeah.
Last movie I saw in the theater where I was like dying was This Is the End, and it was,
This Is the End was
it was
great.
certain scenes.
Yeah.
But that was like 2-3 years ago now.
That was way more than 2-3 years ago.
Was it?
Yeah, I think so.
Whatever. But
Yeah,
it's been a while.
I wonder too if like meme culture has an effect. Like the fact that we can go on our phone and look at a fucking Instagram account and laugh our ass off, and then be like, "All right, like
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
probably why we don't miss it,
right."
but it's still not. There's still like that void.
I think that also stars are so accessible now we don't get excited to see them in the theater like we used to.
Yeah.
Like when we were growing up, the only time you could see Vince Vaughn was when he was in a movie. The only time you
Right.
could see Will Smith when he wasn't on a TV show was when he was in a movie. It was really special to go see that because you really gravitated toward this person and you had desire because he was restricted.
Yeah.
Restricted
the idea
access.
of the movie star is definitely a change thing.
No, you just go on his Instagram Live. You just hang out with him all fucking day. He answers a question. It's like,
Yeah, he's periscoping. You're like, all
yeah,
right.
you're talking to this guy.
Yeah.
You know, the access maybe. I don't know.
Anyway, it's crazy. It's a great discussion because everything's changing.
Yeah, this didn't,
And,
it didn't
the
end up
truth
being
is-
about Bright. This was
Yeah,
more
yeah.
about the
But
business
that's-
itself, but I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the truth is, no one knows. Everybody's trying to scramble to figure this shit out, and it's all changing so rapidly that everybody's like, "What the fuck?" And everybody's worried about their jobs. All the executives, all the studios are like, "What the fuck?"
But that's when the bad decisions get made.
Exactly,
Yep.
and they're already being made.
What is
But-
it they say? Made out of fear, not out of decisions made out of fear, not out of confidence, or something. I don't know.
But probably botched it. But
Yeah,
okay.
But
sounds
yo,
like it.
I'm telling
Okay.
you, based off of data, we might see my big rat freak wedding.
Ooh, that'd be hot. Who stars in it? Lena Dunham. All right, this has been another episode of Westerbros. Thank you guys for listening so much. Make sure you guys check us all out on Instagram. We said at the beginning of it. And yeah, we're going to go some Chinese food. Peace.
Let's do it.
all right.